What it is, you guys, Yummy Money here, and in today's video I got kind of a different video for you guys. I'm going to be documenting my trip from Portland International Airport to Oakland on Southwest Airlines Flight 345, departing Portland at 5:15 and landing back in Oakland at 6:55. This flight is operated by a Boeing 737-700 aircraft. I'm traveling with my brother, and we finished up a wonderful 3 nights visiting my uncle. As you can see here, we are driving up to the terminal in Portland. This was a nighttime flight, so filming during the actual flight was limited. Also, I did not film flying from Oakland to Portland, but I will include some of that as well in this review. So my uncle dropped us off in the airport, and we headed over to security. That easy breezy cover girl through security. The security guys were very humorous. The guy said, make sure you have no nouns in your pockets, and my brother found his little dongle for his iPhone 7. At my security coming from Oakland to Portland, my bag was actually extra screened, and the guy pulled out my Whopper from Burger King and examined it. I am a big fan of these water bottle filler uppers. Great touch, Portland. We were departing through gate C14, which allowed us to walk around the C concourse. We arrived at the airport about 2.5 hours earlier than our flight was going to depart, which allowed for some great terminal viewing, as you'll see in the next couple clips. I got Southwest, Frontier, Spirit, Delta, some amazing planes and airlines that I got to see. I had an absolute blast in the terminal, walking around by myself with my big camera on my little camera, which I'm recording this. Just absolutely beautiful. When we arrived at our gate, our plane wasn't there. Of course, that's just Southwest policy because they have very quick turnaround times, which actually allowed me to pull out my laptop and look on Flight Radar 24 for where our flight was. Our flight was actually coming in from Oakland, and it was only about halfway flying when I looked it up. The gate agents there were very good, very reasonable, and kept us informed about our aircraft status. One of the great things about Portland's airport, whether for transit passengers or just plane spotters like me, is that it is one terminal, so you can easily connect without having to get on a tram, a bus, or anything like that. Here I'm on a movable gateway watching a Spirit push back to Las Vegas. This was my boarding pass for the flight. Boarding time was scheduled for 4:45, but the plane did not actually arrive until 4:50. My gate positioning for this flight was B41, which is kind of trash if any of you are familiar with Southwest boarding policy. It was very poignant for me to spot this Virgin America A320 coming in from San Francisco because they will cease operations and merge fully with Alaska in April of 2018. I've flown with Virgin America many times between San Francisco and Boston. I have loved every flight with them. As the light faded, the planes did not, and sure enough, our plane came pulling into the gate from Oakland. As soon as the last passenger got off, our passengers started boarding. This is rather amazing because the cabin, as you could tell, is not quite fully cleaned. This is part of Southwest policy and keeps fares cheap, and their planes turned around very quickly. The reason my brother and I stayed around the gate was because flying from Oakland to Portland, we actually were the last 2 passengers to board the plane, and we heard last call for passengers James and Liam. Due to this reason, we made sure that we were on the gate when the plane arrived so we could fully see it. My position was B41, and I was very proud to stand in line next to my brother, waiting to board the aircraft.
Got my records on.
My brother celebrated actually getting onto the flight because he was taking in some records which were larger than FAA regulated guidelines, so he was actually sneaking on more stuff to the plane than allowed. I, of course, was rather passive in allowing him to do this. My brother and I were reminiscing about our early childhood when we used to wave goodbye from the jet bridge to the last bit of land we could see from outside the plane. Then, what I still do is I touch the outside of the plane to really feel the plane. This plane's color is blue. I'm not sure whether this is a norm on Southwest, and I haven't seen it on any other airline, but the captain and the co-captain just walking around on the jet bridge right before the flight, presumably talking to the gate agents. As we entered the flight, I was greeted by a very kind flight attendant. Because my brother and I's gate boarding was B40 and B41, we had absolute terrible seating to choose from. Although this video does not do it justice, there was an amazing sunset looking west towards Hawaii and the Pacific Ocean. Due to our late boarding, my brother and I were both seated in middle seats. I was in front of him, and he was behind me. I was seated in between a dad who looked like his name was Brad or Chad. He had spiky hair, and between a guy who was sitting at the window who looked like his name was Irish O'Connor. This man was as Irish as they got. Because this was a nighttime flight, it was dark. These videos are actually from the flight, they're not just pure black. I was served some Sprite with no ice, which I asked for because I could get more soda from it, and some pretty bad peanuts. The one thing I will say about the service is I had an absolute wonderfully bubbly flight attendant that reminded me a lot of my high school French teacher. Of course, I was seated next to two people who slept the entire flight, while my brother was seated next to a guy who he talked through the entire flight. My brother has good luck with this, whether it is extrovertedness or my introvertedness, I don't know. I listened to music on this flight and browsed through my photos, as you'll see me doing now, finding a picture of my brother to show you. The picture I'm showing you is from our family vacation in Italy. My middle seat was because I sat in the middle. This is a picture of my brother. The Irish man sitting next to me on the window saw me filming this and had absolutely no idea what I was doing. It seemed like he was a little uncomfortable with my filming throughout the flight. I did overhear my brother plug my YouTube channel to his seatmate. So Mike, if you're watching this video, please comment down below. Thanks, dude. I not only got my bag from the overhead bin, but my brother's as well, which he took mine and I took his, and then we traded it in the jetway. As I was exiting the plane, the wonderfully bubbly flight attendant that reminded me of my high school French teacher gave me a little wink. Whether she actually gave me the wink or I was imagining it, I don't know. One thing I don't like about Southwest is how the pilots immediately dip after the plane is landed. I didn't even get a chance to say thank you or anything. I will say thank you to flight crew because they do an amazing job. Well, we called my dad and he picked us up in the Prius, and that's the end of my Southwest flight experience. Like if you enjoyed the video.